Some states are forgotten, and some were meant to be. Out here, beneath the cornfields, beneath the rivers, beneath the forests, there are things they never wanted unearthed. Doors sealed shut, tunnels that were filled, but never emptied. Voices still echo in abandoned towns. Lights still flicker from lakes that swallowed entire cities. And sometimes, the footsteps you hear in the forest aren't behind you, they're beneath you. These aren't legends. These aren't ghost stories. These are records, witness statements, documents, and places you can still find if you know where not to look. So lock your doors, put on your headphones, and pull the blanket up tight, because after this, you'll never see Iowa the same way again. The Van Meter visitor, the winged thing that Iowa tried to forget. Some monsters are born in nightmares, others crawl straight out of the ground. Van Meter, Iowa, a quiet farming town until the screams started. It began on a cold night in September of 1903. Locals reported seeing something, massive, winged, and glowing. Not glowing eyes, its entire head glowed like a beam. Witnesses said it was nearly 8 feet tall, leathery wings, a thick neck, and smelled so rotten it made people sick. The first person to see it was Eugene Griffith, a respected businessman. Walking home, he noticed a bright light moving above the rooftops. At first, he thought it was someone carrying a lantern, until it flew straight over his head, silent, except for the air, ripping like fabric being torn. The next night, it returned. This time, perched on the rooftop of the town's hardware store. The owner, Clarence Dunn, was ready. He grabbed his shotgun, fired point blank, but instead of falling, the creature let out a sound, not a roar, not a scream, a metallic shriek, like grinding steel, mixed with something alive. The next morning, they found massive 3-toed footprints in the dirt. The plaster cast still exists today. Locals armed themselves, shot at it again the following night, but the bullets had no effect. It moved through the town like it owned it, landing on buildings, hovering over streets, spreading that smell of sulfur and death. Then it vanished, not into the sky, not into the trees, but into an abandoned mine shaft just outside town. The townspeople gathered, dozens of men armed with rifles, shotguns, dynamite. They marched to the mine, waited. Just before dawn, it emerged again, but it wasn't alone. Another creature followed it, smaller but nearly identical. Both flapped their wings, the sound like tearing metal, and disappeared into the clouds. The miners sealed the shaft, permanently. Bricks. Concrete. Buried. No one opened it again. But here's where it gets worse. The mine is still there, sealed, overgrown. Locals say, some nights, you can hear flapping, a hum deep underground, a metallic screech, like something sharpening knives, beneath the dirt. In 2013, a paranormal research team scanned the area with ground-penetrating radar. They found voids, large empty spaces underground, cavities, where no mine was ever registered. No one knows what's in them. No one dares to open them. The official story? It was mass hysteria. The locals, that's what they want you to think. Some say the creature never left, that it just learned how to stay out of sight. And when the wind shifts, when the ground feels just a little too hollow beneath your feet, you'll hear it. You'll know it's not gone. It's waiting. Some things fly away, others stay buried and scream from beneath. And just a few towns over, there's a cemetery with tunnels sealed shut for over a century. The screams beneath Oakland Cemetery, the locked tunnel no one opened again. Some places echo grief. This one amplifies it. Oakland Cemetery isn't the kind of place people avoid. It's old, beautiful even, rows of Victorian headstones, marble angels, a famous statue known as the Black Angel, cursed according to locals. But it's not the angel that keeps people awake at night. It's the screams from beneath. The story starts in the late 1800s. A network of tunnels was constructed beneath the cemetery. Not for the living, not for escape, but for storage. In Iowa's brutal winters, The ground froze too solid to dig graves, so the dead were stored underground, in sealed, cold chambers, until spring. Then, something went wrong. In 1898, workers reported voices, not whispers, not footsteps, crying, panic, screaming from behind the brick walls. At first they blamed the wind, echoes, shifting earth, until one worker pressed his ear to the wall and heard pounding, rhythmic, desperate, like fists and against stone. When they opened the nearest chamber, there was nothing. No body, no damage, just silence. But the pounding moved to the next wall and the next, like something running, room to room, trying to get out. Records show the tunnels were sealed in 1907. Concrete, brick, filled and forgotten, or meant to be forgotten. Because in 2011, a group of amateur explorers lowered a microphone through an old maintenance shaft. What they captured defies explanation. A low hum, then a voice, muffled, distorted, but clear enough to transcribe, "It's still here, help," and then a scream, high, raw, human, before the audio cuts to static. When they returned the next day, the shaft was welded shut. No explanation, no warning, just gone. Locals say you can still hear chains dragging but there's no one there. Footsteps from beneath the ground, following as you walk the paths above. A distant, metallic knocking, always in threes, always from just below. Paranormal investigators brought ground-penetrating radar in 2015. They found hollow spaces that don't match any known maps, structural anomalies that shouldn't exist, and in one section, a heat signature, not mechanical, not animal, warm, human-shaped, and moving. The city denies the tunnels are still accessible. No comment, no tours, no plans for excavation. But locals know the truth. The tunnels are still there, and so is whatever they locked inside. Some things stay underground. Others are hidden beneath the water. Just beyond the forests, there's a lake that swallowed an entire town, a town that still tries to surface when the droughts come, and sometimes it brings something back with it. The forgotten town beneath Lake Red Rock, structures that resurface in droughts. Some towns fade from memory. This one refuses Lake Red Rock, a place where the water looks calm, but the ground beneath it is anything but. Because what most people don't know is that beneath the surface, there's an entire town. In the early 1960s, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers built the Red Rock Dam to control flooding along the Des Moines River. To do that, they didn't just flood empty fields. They flooded houses, schools, bridges, cemeteries, and an entire town called Red Rock. Families were forced to leave. Some homes were demolished, but others' bads were left to drown. And here's where it gets worse. When the droughts come and the water drops low enough, things start to resurface. Locals report seeing foundations of houses, sidewalks that lead into the water, gravestones and broken or half-submerged, staircases that climb into nothing. But it's not just structures, it's sounds. Fishermen tell stories of hearing church bells, children laughing, footsteps, splashing in shallow water when no one is there. In 2012, during one of Iowa's worst droughts, a kayaker exploring the exposed shoreline found something wrong. A corner of concrete, but not a foundation. A room, perfect angles, smooth walls. A doorway leading straight into the lake. When he paddled closer, he swears he heard it. A voice, faint, female, singing. Not words, not a song, just a sound. And then splashing behind him. When he turned, there was nothing. He marked the spot, took photos, but when he came back the next day, the water had risen. Just enough to cover it. Locals say the lake doesn't give everything back at once. It just shows you enough to remind you it's still there. Divers report equipment failures. Radios cut out, compasses spin, and more than once, kayakers have said they saw a light under the water, small, pale, moving, slowly. In 2018, satellite images during a record drought showed shapes, not natural, not random, straight lines, perfect corners, Something still standing under the water. The Army Corps denies any remaining structures. There is nothing dangerous beneath the lake. Locals disagree, because sometimes the water drops, and what comes back should have stayed buried. Some things are hidden beneath water. Others wait in the trees. Deep in the forests of Blackhawk, people hear things. Whispers, footsteps, and voices that always seem just behind you, because in the woods, not everything you hear wants to be found. The howling forest of Blackhawk, voices between the pines. Forests are supposed to be loud, birds, wind, leaves cracking underfoot, but here, the silence feels wrong. Blackhawk State Park, a peaceful trail by day. By night, it becomes something else entirely. Locals call it the howling forest, not because of wolves, not because of wind, but because something calls back. It starts simple, footsteps, not yours, but synced with yours. Every time you stop, it stops. Then the whispers, not words, not voices you recognize, just a sound, close, too close. In 1947, the first police report was filed. A man hiking alone called for help, claiming someone was following him. When authorities arrived, he was gone. No footprints, no gear, just his car, still parked at the trailhead. His body was never found. Since then, the stories grew darker. Campers reported children laughing from nowhere, a woman crying just out of sight, heavy breathing from behind trees when no one was there. In 1992, a group of college students spent the night near the southern ridge. At 2:13 a.m., one of them left the tent, claiming to hear someone calling his name. It sounded just like me. Same voice, same tone. It was me. When he didn't come back, the others followed and saw it. A figure, tall, thin, standing perfectly still between the trees. No face, no color, just black. When they shined their flashlight, it vanished. By morning, they packed up and left. Two of them never returned to the park again. The third refuses to talk about it. Locals have a saying, if the forest feels too quiet, you're not alone, you're being hunted. Hikers describe a moment every time, when the wind stops, when the leaves stop moving, when every sound gets swallowed, and in that moment the howling starts. Low, guttural, a sound that feels like it's coming from inside your own head. In 2017, an experienced outdoorsman caught audio of something that still hasn't been explained. A deep hum, then a voice, not a scream, not a growl, a sentence. Stop walking, 3 words, followed by a howl, a sound so loud, so close, his mic overloaded, and then footsteps, circling him, fast. But there was nothing there. Park rangers don't patrol the forest after sundown anymore. It's not safe. Not because of animals, because of something else. Some say it's the spirits of the displaced. Some say it's an echo of something older than the forest itself. But locals agree on one thing. If you hear something call your name, don't answer. Not here. Some things whisper from the trees. Others never left the house. Just one town over, there's a house where the doors still shut on their own, where footsteps never stop, where the sounds of that night never left, because what happened there was too violent to ever go silent. The sealed doors of the Velisa murder house, the sounds never left. Velisa, Iowa. Some houses are haunted by stories. This one is haunted by something else. June 10th, 1912. A night so violent, Iowa has never recovered. In the small town of Velisa, an entire family was found butchered. 6 children, 2 adults, all murdered with an axe. No fingerprints, no footprints. No one ever caught. But the house remembers. Locals say the doors never stopped closing themselves. Footsteps still echo in the halls, and sometimes just you hear the axe. Visitors report heavy footsteps pacing between rooms, doors that slam with no wind. Children's voices whispering, he's back. The walls are original. The floors still stained in places where blood was scrubbed, but never fully gone. In 2004, a paranormal investigator spent the night alone. At exactly 2:17 a.m., his audio recorder captured a low dragging sound, footsteps, then a voice. "Don't open the door." The next morning, he was found by staff, unconscious, no injuries, no explanation. When asked what happened, he refused to speak. He left the state, never returned. Multiple documentaries attempted to film inside. Cameras fail, batteries die, and more than once, filmmakers report hearing the sound of breathing inches from the mic, with no one there. In 2014, a tourist staying overnight stabbed himself in the chest. When questioned later, he said, "The house told me to do it. It said, finish what was started." The most chilling detail. When you walk into the children's room, the closet door is sealed, nailed shut, painted over, locked from the outside. No one opens it. Not guides, not owners, no one. Because the last time someone tried, they heard knocking from the inside. Paranormal equipment picks up. EMF spikes. Without electricity. Voices saying, "Hide. He's here. Don't breathe." And sometimes, the sound of an axe dragging across the floor. The official story. It's a tragic piece of history. The locals. History doesn't knock back. Some houses trap the past. Others bury it. Beneath the earth itself. In a cemetery. Just beyond the tree line. There are graves that shouldn't exist. Names that vanish from stone. Voices that never learned how to stay quiet. Because in Forest City, some disappearances were never meant to be solved. The Lost Children of Forest City, the cemetery where names fade too fast. Some graves hold memories. These hold something worse. Forest City is small, quiet, safe, or that's what people say. Just beyond the edge of town, there's a cemetery. Old, overgrown, forgotten, on purpose. Locals call it the Children's Field, because since the early 1900s, it's where they buried the ones they couldn't explain. The records are missing. Church logs, gone. Grave maps, incomplete. And some graves have no names at all. Stone markers, faded faster than they should. Whole sections where the grass grows, but no one remembers who's under it. And then there are the sightings. Since the 1950s, locals report children running between the trees. Small voices calling, just out of reach. Laughter, distant, then suddenly behind you. They never get close. They never speak directly, but always they're watching. In 1979, a boy disappeared near the southern woods. Search teams combed the area, found nothing except footprints, small, barefoot, leading from the trail into the cemetery. But here's the part no one talks about. The footprints stopped, mid-stride, like the earth swallowed them whole. His body was never found. In 2003, 2 hikers exploring the edge of the cemetery heard it. A girl's voice, soft, crying, "Help me." They followed it, deeper, past the last headstone, until they saw the nothing. No trail, no girl, just a line of handprints and pressed into the dirt. Small, perfect, then gone. Locals report, phone batteries draining, cameras failing, recordings picking up, breathing, but no voices. And sometimes the sound of digging, soft, deliberate, just beneath your feet. The town avoids that part of the forest. The city won't put up a fence, won't mark the graves, won't restore the headstones. It's better if they stay forgotten. But the ground remembers. The trees remember. And at night the laughter always comes back. Some mysteries fly, some scream, some hide beneath the water. But the worst ones never left the ground. Iowa isn't just farmland. It's a map of places you were never meant to find. Tell me in the comments, which one of these haunted you the most and which state should we uncover next?